voice of Amazonia, connecting the world from Africa with untold stories, Africa's best. We the people, ABC Amba TV, Amazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Amazonia, connecting the world from Africa with untold stories, Africa's best.
S-K-A-L-L-E Wabi rapper. This is the truth. You like to hear. This is the truth. We're gonna make you look your ear. This is the truth, bro. You like to hear. Wada. We don't need cry, the government know the year we cry. Southern Cameroon and look at our faces, there's no smile. Peace not there for pay, that's why you see tears for our eye. Make they stop the war because in our border them we die. We never ever be together, stop the lie. You take my team with power, then you still the high. You get hard for stand for front TV, continue the lie. Now for you, forgive me back, my team back, I get for cry. No be the motto, be a peace walk, fatherland. But now for the peace of work, we get for mother man. As you the cut, no forget my way, he plant a man. You want for chopper, us in your papa get the farm. I know say very soon, I go be a ghost. I know if you get black level, my man the froze. Even a one cup tea, we get for toast. Tomorrow time, then go candy tell we take a shows. I no be able to for guarantee good picture for my kid. Picking the nose for all kind of gun before them big. They couldn't accept check and escape a good way for live. So it's time to table the matter cause people still believe. Though now we get the food, you get the market. They would say come back with the empty pocket. One neighbor Nigeria, then the media rocket. But I'm not sure what that Cameroon they make even bucket. Cameroon reach for all things, not just for government poor. Only tax they make waka people for selling them for poor. Even now you go invest for years, say you do. Can't you win money, people they decide the law. Wow, man nothing again for not freely at all. Nearly every day, man, then now we be left for floor. See, can't you win two different parties, they make the law. I dey pray for God, me man Jack, I no witness the war. This is the truth, you like to hear. This is the truth, we're gonna make you lock your ear. This is the truth, bro, you like to hear. Whoa, yo, I know some people then go test me at home. It's time to stand together, make they change the law. Because no man know the way they enjoy the war. So I wish they make this song rich for my way they make the law. My way they chop you and drop you peso for choke. We don't overtake and now we know fi cope. Leaders of tomorrow, now so we no get hope. Money they been get me home for no line of hope. So make you tell me waiting, I go tell Manjaka. If tomorrow he ask and papa wait to start the matter. No be all we know say all we will be being our brothers. So make you tell about the matter, make for me be in order. But it dey like say some man go die before they agree. But now how many people they get for die before we free? How I wish get me for move my belly so I know for see. All the gunshot and killings where they happen around me. When man overstay in tears, he get with your face. The thing that's me personal, that's why I didn't show my face. I dey ready for Gongata if not that one be the case. But before you judge my action, make you don't resolve the case. Because they always depend for a better nation. Peace work, fatherland, who said they keep the vision. Pay go be fine, but now when that is the question. They must solve the matter, we are the choosing generation. This is the truth, you like to hear. This is the truth, we're gonna make you lock your ear. This is the truth, bro, you like to hear. Whoa, yo.
We the people, ABC Amba TV, Amazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Amazonia, connecting the world from Africa with untold stories, Africa's best. We the people, ABC Amba TV, Amazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Amazonia, connecting the world from Africa with untold stories, Africa's best.
Good evening, fellow Amazonians, ladies and gentlemen. This is exactly 10 minutes after 6 p.m. in Ambazonia, in Boya Bamenda, and every county of our nation. And Ambazonians are seated for this very important program that we thought it was necessary to have with our two attorneys, that's Barrister Tim Besa and Barrister Frujan. So while we're trying to ensure that Barrister Bisea connect with us in a couple of minutes, I'll ask those of you watching on Facebook and on YouTube to invite somebody, that we are live and we have about 90 minutes getting to 2 hours to have a pertinent discussion. You've seen the billboards and I think you need to participate. We hope to give you some time to call in. If not, you may still call in when Undaunted comes up at 8:30, if I'm not mistaken, to be a part of the discussion entirely. That notwithstanding, I ask you to stay tuned. Let me connect Barrister Mbihisa. I think Barrister Fru is already connected. Let me ensure what's happening with Barrister Team Bisea, and we will start the discussion immediately.
We the people, ABC Amber TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa.
Truth for the talk, it be accepted. So me I go continue for talk. Even if it no be accepted, I know say the truth will surely prevail. Different kind of people, they do where they carry gun. Different people. Some people, they do where they carry gun, they call them a rebel. They call them militia. So when they do where they carry gun, they call them security guard. Some people, they do where they carry gun, they call them armed men. Like criminal, they call them armed men, gunmen. Some people, they do where they carry gun, they be well armed, they call them terrorists. But some other people, do where they carry gun, they call them soldier. You know the difference? A soldier, now a person where he be legally authorized by the state for carry gun on behalf of the state to defend the state, to defend the nation, defend the people. May I tell you again, a soldier now somebody where he be legally authorized by the state to work for the state, to carry gun and to defend the state, the sovereignty of the state. Now soldier that. So legally speaking, now soldier man, now you get the legal right for carry arms. You see him for you know, ask you say show me license. If you see soldier for road, he carry gun, he say show me license for that gun. The uniform we wear them, the government we carry for head, now license that. He be authorized for carry gun. Because he be work as an agent of the state. The good thing we don't happen for Ambazonia na say, we don't restore our independence. Therefore, we are a country. We don't restore our government. Therefore, we also have a government like any other country. Therefore, the people, the way they carry gun in our various communities to defend the cause of this government, to defend our people and defend our nation, are known as soldiers. We be Ambazonia soldiers because soldiers belong to the state. Soldiers not belong to individual. Soldiers not belong to some company, to some money organization. Soldier belong to the state. If I tell you, say, that man son a soldier for Ghana, this other man son a soldier for Niger, or that man son a soldier for Egypt, which is the thing for your head? Say he work for some company, say he work for some man, or he work for government. How Ambazonia will be different? May I tell you one thing? One of the reasons why international community, it don't hook them for neck, they don't feel call any owner, any of our ARFs and fighters on the ground, they don't feel call una, say una be terrorists. If una do the correct thing, now because you are legally, you are legitimate. That means say legally you get the right for carry arms. Why? Because your government says you should carry them. Because you get a government. Any man where they carry gun, where you know they carry them under a government, they call that person a rebel. They call that person a criminal. If you come after that person anyhow, because now only the government, if it license you as a soldier, and then you carry the gun on behalf of the government, and you be called a soldier. Yes, that is it. When you decide, say, you know, want to fight under the government, may I tell you what did happen? You did tell the world, say, you are not a soldier because we will not get a government. You are just a gunman. You be just a rebel. You be just probably a criminal. Because any man will hold gun will not be under any authority if he do them anyhow. The reason why they expect a soldier for carry gun now because that soldier is there under authority. You know, if you talk to many people, they call gun, carry any army, everybody carry your own gun, goes form your own company, make your own group, put your own name, carry your own gun, and they know they under any authority. Anybody with the carry gun, it must be under the discipline of governmental authority. Otherwise, those are not soldiers. The number one law for soldier work, not discipline. Discipline means you're there under authority. The reason why the international community, you never call any of our fighters, any of our ARFs, say they be terrorists or they be this and that. The Republic don't try so they don't tire. Now because we have a government, and as a government, until the day where they go tell this IG, say, una no get right, na lie. There was no resolution 1608, na lie. Una no be a sovereign nation. Una no don't be a government by yourself. Na lie, will not agree with una. That is when they go question who are those carrying arms on behalf of this government. But as at now, carry your gun, do what the government says, be under the authority as is required in every nation, and do the right thing. Make no man no try for own you, because that is organized criminality. I not talk say, no, you can't be some money boy. No. Or may you come for IG, no, make you boy. No. Carry that gun with the authority of the nation behind you and do the right thing. The government no they take away anything from you. Instead, they give you legality or carry that gun. As a soldier, not as an armed person or militia or rebel. Rebel say the rebel who? Rebel now in forces inside a country where they fight against the government where they inside that country. We are a separate country with its own soldiers. We are not rebels. So we get to be under our own government in our own country. Some of these things they might just talk because I want to make the be on record. You know, some talk the day way that when man they talk they make sense. After it don't pass, then some people they go to find them, say, who said that talk the way that man be talk? Because in that time where the truth for the talk, it be accepted.
We the people, ABC Amber TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa with untold stories, Africa's best. We the people, ABC Amber TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa with untold stories, Africa's best.
You're watching the People's Television, ABC Amber TV, the voice of Ambazonia. Stay tuned.
Once again, good evening and welcome, fellow Ambazonians. A few days ago, we woke up to a news that purportedly was a good news. And we saw on the media images of attorneys from Abuja rejoicing of a purported discharge or acquitted or release of Namdi Kanu that was based on the appeal court's decision. But few hours later, Nnamdi Kanu was only discharged and not acquitted, says Malami. The Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Abubakar Malami, on Thursday reacted to the decision of the appeal court to discharge the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. In a statement signed by the spokesperson, Dr. Umar Jibri Gwandu, Mr. Malami said the appeal court only discharged Kanu and did not acquit him. That's what he said. The Office of the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice has received the news of the decision of the Court of Appeal. So he said concerning the trial of Nnamdi Kanu. For the avoidance of doubt and by verdict of the court, Kanu was only discharged, not acquitted. Now the situation is getting complex at this point. Kanu was only discharged and not acquitted. What does that mean when we talk of law? And these are some of the things we're having state attorneys to address. And why is this of concern? Because the same court, I would say the High Court in Abuja, Nigeria is proving to have a better legal system than the Cameroons. The High Court in Abuja in 2019 also issued a court order demanding that Yaoundé sent back former President Sisilu, Julius, Ayuk-Tabe and his cabinet that were kidnapped and forcefully deported into Cameroon. But unto date, Cameroon has despised that court order. Cameroon has despised international laws and every international injunction. The question I would want to ask today is, what more is yet to be done so that Yaoundé can conform? We woke up early this morning to videos from Emmanuel Ashu Agbo applauding Yaoundé for the Canada conference and insisting that everyone is supposed to participate. Shockingly, the social media is grumbling, and we thought that it was necessary to bring that on the table of discussion because this man is supposed to be a lawyer. He understands what it means for a country to be independent, but his utterances in a live broadcast that was done by Media Prime was an apology. He ignored his previously made statements and considered all of us as Cameroonians. In his justification was that we all are having Cameroonian passports. How unfortunate. My question again would be, has he forgotten that even colonized people have the rights to travel documents? And that you're using a document, it does not legitimize or delegitimize your originality or nationality. Today, I have with me on the platform Barrister Fru Johnson, who is the Vice Chair of the Judiciary Commission of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, and the Chairperson, I'm yet to be sure, okay, fortunately the Chairperson of the Judiciary Commission has just connected. And these two gentlemen will be with me this evening for about 90 minutes to dissect these issues. Right after that, we'll be having Dr. Yaya coming up with Health is Wealth. And right after that, Undaunted is coming. The day is pregnant. So much is there for us to talk about. And we are hopefully laying down the foundations for the discussions this evening. Without any waste of your time, let me usher in Barrister Fru. Good evening, sirs, and welcome.
Thank you, Paddy.
I would like to thank both of you for respecting this very invitation. It was a brief notice, but we thought that it was imperative. Thank you once again for coming. we want to tackle very important issues lying in front of us now as we speak. The tables are turning in Abuja, and Yaoundé is dormant. You saw my caption earlier on Sisilu, Julius, Ayuk-Tabe versus Namdi Kanu. There's a lot for us to discuss, but then let us start on the court order, the implication of what the Attorney General is saying, what are the legal bases. If you read the reports, they are claiming that he jumped bail and that is still active in law. Maybe we should start from there before going into what Emmanuel Ashu Agbo said on Prime Television. Let's keep going.
Okay, Paddy, before I say anything, I'd like to make a correction. I am not the Vice Chair of the Judicial Council. Barrister Ghana is the Vice Chair of the Judicial Council. I am the Attorney General of Ambazonia, directly under the presidency. I'm member of cabinet.
Okay.
Now,
so in the same order, you are like the Attorney General of Abuja,
yes,
who is now saying that whatever came in from the appeal court is that's amazing. Yes, go right ahead.
Now, let me go to the judgment that has just come from Abuja. Even though I've not read it, but I've seen extracts of what the Attorney General is saying. Let me say, first of all, that Nigeria has a very, very independent judicial system. I'm talking like somebody who has appeared in the High Court, the Federal High Court in Abuja. And I can tell you that that court does not, everybody is equal under the law. Now, having said that, when a criminal judgment is issued, if you hear discharged and acquitted, you are discharged first of all, and you are acquitted on all the charges that were levied against you. If you hear a court judge says he has been discharged, I rarely hear that in criminal judgments, but sometimes it exists. You know, the circumstances under which Nnamdi Kanu was arrested in a foreign country, violated international law. I mean, the people who arrested him violated all international law. There was no extradition. There was nothing. They just bungled the man and brought him to Nigeria. That was illegal. He might have been discharged on that. I wouldn't know until I read the judgment. But the point I'm making is that you can't be discharged, but the charges that were preferred against you or ab initio, that is from the beginning, before they started looking for you, might not have been treated. The court might have just looked at the procedure under which you were arrested and declared that no, you cannot hold him in detention. He's hereby discharged. If they didn't use the word acquitted, and I'm still to see a criminal judgment which says discharged, but not acquitted. I'm not saying that they don't exist. No. They do rarely exist. But
now, before we even make progress with the discussion, Barrister Flo, would you say, as a legal mind, that whatever happened with Nnamdi Kanu was an arrest or a kidnap? Because an arrest is a legal proceeding.
Exactly. It was a kidnap.
Can you boldly call it an arrest? Or would you
it was a kidnap. It was a kidnap. He was kidnapped in, I think, is it Kenya or wherever, and bundled and brought to Nigeria. Nigeria being a country of law, a common law system, no judicial system will stomach that kind of attitude. You must go through the legal procedures For example, if like you commit a crime in your country and you escape to another country, that you are the legal officers of your country can come after you and ask that country to extradite you back to your country, and that is a proceeding. That proceeding must take place before a court of law in the country where you are now residing as a fugitive. It never took place. They just went to that country, kidnapped Namdi Kanu, and bundled him in a plane and brought him into Nigeria. No court in the world will entertain, I mean, in the free world, that I mean to say, will entertain that kind of attitude. It was actually a kidnap, it was not an arrest. Maybe he has just been discharged because of that attitude, and that the other charges, were, if they were, are still pending. I wouldn't know until I read the judgment.
Yeah, it would appear that Cameroon, La République du Cameroon, what they call the Biameron and the Buhari Nigeria are just not respecters of international law. We have seen them behave like that within the past 4 years, consistently. Barrister Team, please. Perhaps you want to comment on that.
Let me say this. Oh, okay.
Okay, what I was trying to add is simply this. You see, to understand what went on in the Abuja Court of Appeal, we must try to understand the basis of the case. Originally, Namdi Kanu was charged for attempted rebellion, all this sort of stuff. And then he was supposed to be on trial in Nigeria. He was granted bail, and he jumped bail and escaped to Great Britain, where he obtained, as of now, British nationality and resided there. So, as of now, he holds a British nationality, he holds a Nigerian nationality. But bottom line, when he was somewhere in Kenya, the Nigerian judicial system went there and kidnapped him, as I said, and forcefully brought him to Nigeria, and they put him on trial. They purported to put him on trial. That process where you go to a different country and forcefully extradite somebody is known in law as extraordinary rendition. That is not allowed. He has already put it there. That is not allowed legally. If somebody jumps bail or commits a crime in your country, in country A, and runs to country B, there's a procedure to bring the person back. That procedure is called, what do you call it? It's called forgetting the word. But there's a procedure to follow it there. You have to do extradition formally. And even in the country B where the guy is, there's a procedure. Extradition. You have to extradite the guy officially. And to extradite the guy, there must be a court in country B that orders that guy to come back. Because people escape for different reasons. His trial originally was political. And there are different conditions they give to send you back. And so, back to your question, discharged and acquitted. At his trial, what came up first was his lawyers raised the issue. How did this guy find himself here? Justify how he got here. And the Nigerian government could simply say, well, we went and brought him from Kenya. And the court said, no, that's wrong. You don't need to. No country in the world, your laws of a local country apply to your country. You cannot go to execute your laws in a different man's own country. That is not allowed. So the court said, you cannot do that. This guy as of now, you don't have to bring him here. He's discharged, but not acquitted of whatever crime you charged him for originally. Because a discharge and acquittal means that the case has been heard on the merit. Let me give an example. What this Ambazonian Foundation thing, which is going on, the case which is going on right now in court. Last week we were talking about who filed an application in court to have the matter dismissed. Okay, if the matter has been dismissed, there will be dismissal without merit. They are not listening to the case. They have not listened to both parties. So it's not on the merit. Once you are acquitted, once you are discharged and not acquitted, the complainant has the right to bring forward to continue prosecuting you if they care, if they have the evidence. But as of now, you're a free man, and then they will have to justify how they brought you into their court. There are so many circumstances who have had those things right here before us. What Yaoundé did to Naira 10 was exactly what Nigeria was trying to do to Nnamdi Kanu. They went to Nigeria without extradition procedure, in fact, no extradition agreement, kidnapped these people, hijacked them, and brought them, and they are trying them in their country. That was illegal. And maybe if we're old enough, I'm not sure that Paddy knows this. Nigeria is so fond of this. 10, 15, 20 years
Charles
ago.
Taylor, Nigeria betrayed Charles Taylor.
No, not even Charles
Nigeria
Taylor.
did same to
10,
Charles
15,
Taylor.
no, forget about Nigeria. I want to deal with the unnatives. 10, 15 years ago or more, Nigeria, the Nigerian finance minister who was accused of embezzling money escaped to London, to very London. The federal government did not look for extradition. They went to London, got this guy, dropped him, put him in a container, and marked on the container diplomatic box. They brought him to the airport to ship him to Nigeria to be tried there because they'll be looking for him. Luckily for this gentleman, the customs said, look, this box is too big to be a diplomatic bag. You have to open it. So they first opened that box and saw this foreign minister, finance minister sitting in the box, ready to be shipped to Nigeria. He was already dropped with an Israeli medical doctor sitting there with him, continue to apply.
And that's a crime within the United Kingdom.
Yeah, but not anywhere in the world. So I'm just saying that Nigeria is so fond of this adopting people. As I said, they could have good courts, but there's something in a good court. A good judgment, a good court passes judgment that must be enforced. If they pass judgment, they don't enforce. For example, they've said he's acquitted. He's discharged. They've never even released him. He's still there. The prosecutor general is still looking at what to do. And as I follow the debate, there was one of this argument there. You don't keep somebody in detention, then look for the crime to charge him. That's what they do in Cameroon. They go and bring you, lock you up in Kondingi for years. Then they start to say, what should you charge this guy for? But that is as far as Nnamdi Kanu is concerned. He is discharged, but not acquitted, because they didn't go to the merit of whatever thing they brought him for. They went to the procedure. They raised the issue. First answer how you brought this clear and here, and they could not. Or what they did was that they went to Kenya and extradited the man, which is called extraordinary rendition, and forcefully brought him to their court. I think that answers the issue of.
We're all saying the same thing, Pastor From, coming to you. But then I want you, as you are developing the discussion, to also tackle this. It would appear that international law enforcement, Cameroon and Nigeria do have some form of a hard skin. They can despise international law as it so pleases them, and nobody seems to be doing anything. What do you think could be the reason why Nigeria, with impunity, will go to the UK and do what you're just mentioning, go to Kenya and do this? Cameroon gets into Abuja, kidnaps professors from a university, and using an international airport to take them into Yaoundé. and nobody seemingly is doing anything. Even the court ruling has been despised, and nobody is questioning that. Nobody is really questioning. It's like the international war is there for a logo, is really not active when it comes to these two countries. By the floor, please.
Are you talking to me? Let me just clarify this.
I would like
Okay, I was on. Okay, go
I
on.
will talk about the case that we had in Abuja.
Yes, you're a lead
Because
lawyer, and that's why I really thought
was
you were important. It
directly
was
involved.
important for you to be here. Yeah.
Yes, we did not raise the issue of extradition because there was there was a more powerful law that we relied on, the International Convention on the Protection of Refugees and Asylum Seekers of 1951. That is what Barrister Femi Falana and our team from Cameroon, led by me, we raised it in that court. The Nigerian judge complemented that international law with the Nigerian Constitution of 1979 and ruled for us and asked Nigeria and Cameroon to bring back all the asylum seekers and refugees that they captured from Nigeria and took to Yaoundé. It's not only the 10, it included 37 of our people from Taraba State. They were also included in that judgment.
Was it 39 or 37? Was it 39 or 37?
Was clear that it was supposed to be executed by Nigeria and Cameroon. Cameroon and Nigeria, Cameroon was to send back those people who were taken illegally into Cameroon, and Nigeria was supposed to pay some money to those individuals. The judgment was attached to the complaint that we lawyers here in the United States, me, Barrister Ghana, and Barrister Timothy, we prepared and filed. Until today, neither Nigeria nor Cameroon has executed that judgment. And it's not the only judgment that Nigeria has refused to execute. I remember that there was a judgment brought by Dr. Ngrumni and his team in the Abuja High Court, obliging Nigeria to take our case to the International Court. The judge agreed, and that judgment was served on Nigeria. Until today, it has not been executed. So Nigeria is it's not very forthcoming as it concerns execution of judgment, especially criminal judgments that have international connotation. Is it because of the politics in Nigeria? I wouldn't know. But frankly speaking, the Nigerians have a more independent judiciary system than Cameroon. Cameroon, when we raised that issue, when we raised that issue in what you call tribunal militaire or the military court in Yaoundé, it was just brushed aside by the military people. I don't know whether they don't know anything about international law, or they don't even bother to read, or because even the Cameroon Constitution says international conventions supreme under the national laws. Yet those military people kept aside our objections and everything. And of course, you know the history of how the case went. Ayuk-Tabe himself dislocated his defense, and that is how it ended. And after 2 months of dismissing us, he was tried overnight and sentenced at 4:45 a.m. in the morning to life imprisonment with 9 others. So what am I bringing this? To show you that Nigeria and Cameroon political systems, when it comes to this kind of issues are very much alike. But the judicial system in Nigeria is very free. The judge can issue a judgment against the state, against individuals, or against anybody. It's for you to go on appeal. Would you imagine that even the judgment we obtained in the Abuja High Court was never appealed against? The Attorney General got so overwhelmed that he refused to appeal, but he did nothing to execute that judgment. I don't know whether.
So perhaps it was just some form of appeasement, not really a judgment per se. Yes,
Now,
but
let me just add let me add something there. You see, this issue of moving suspects or people you disagree with from one jurisdiction to the other is completely illegal. It's not just from one country to the other. No. What is going on in Cameroon today? You cannot catch somebody who committed a crime, say, in Bamenda town, Mancon, and go and try that person in Manfe. No, that's illegal. So what they do right now, where they come to Manfe, come to Bamenda, come to wherever, carry people to Yaoundé, is manifestly illegal. It has been dealt with in the communication 26603 that we all know. The complainants in that, Gumne and the rest, say, look, they have been arresting people from Boya, from southern Cameroon, and carrying into Yaoundé. And the court ruled that that is wrong. You cannot do that. That's why you have a court in Boya, you have a court in Bamenda, you have a court in Manfe, and everywhere. That's illegal. Even the stupid thing they call military tribunal. There's a military tribunal in Boya. There's one in Bamenda. You cannot catch somebody in Kambe, leave the military tribunal in Bamenda, and carry him to Yaoundé and say you're trying. Just on jurisdiction alone, that is illegal. So there are manifest illegalities that they portray all the time. And then back to what Barasan said, let me just correct something there. In 2003, the case is referring to in Abuja. That was 2002, sorry. Yangumne and the rest. The court did not just pass the judgment, no. It was a consent judgment. The Attorney General of Nigeria, that was under Obasanjo, signed a written agreement, what they would do. I have the judgment right here. They took the written agreement that what they had agreed to do to the court, and the court now endorsed it, and it became a judgment. In a consent judgment, once you consent, you can no longer appeal. But they've not been attempted to appeal anyway. You can already open it. But the judgment that they consented to doing, they have never done what they consented to do. It would cost them nothing. The judgment simply said, the consent was that just bring up our matter in international jurisdiction, in courts, in institutions. That's all. The federal government under President Obasanjo consented, they agreed and signed. I have the judgment here with the signature there. So they don't execute. Law is law, but they don't, both Cameroon and Nigeria, I can just call them legal jungles. Like I just said, they have a case in Abuja again, enter a judgment in favor of people they adopted. They didn't even ask them to, they simply say, bring back these people. They are not executing it. That's their own court. That's a Nigerian court. The same thing in Cameroon. If you go to Kondingi, right now, other than the narrative, there are people in Cameroon who have been sentenced, who have served their term. They have finished serving their term and they are not coming out. They are still waiting for somebody to tell them to go home after they have served their full term. What of justice is that? In an ordinary justice, you serve
people
your term.
in Yaoundé who
Let
have
me
been
correct something.
Okay, go right ahead.
Let me
please.
correct something. Yes.
Go ahead.
What I mean by appeal is the case that we did in Abuja. It was a full-blown trial. We sued Nigerian government and we sued only the Nigerian government in Abuja High Court. And we attached evidence that Cameroon was in complicity. So what I'm saying is that the Nigerian government did not appeal that judgment. Up to today, the Nigerian Attorney General did not appeal that judgment of Siseko and 9 others and the Taraba State people. But it became ripe for execution, meaning that you can no longer appeal. But yet that execution of that judgment is still pending. There is a problem in Nigeria of executing international judgment. I don't know what it is.
No, this is a problem. If you don't know what it is, this is a problem. In political issues, Cameroon and Nigeria go arms and grooves. They are friends.
Correct.
You know that they don't know. I mean, they are lawyers.
No, Barrister Tim, very quickly, I'm not cutting you short. Barrister Tim, very quickly, what could be their particular interest? Because that is the focus of this discussion. And I believe a lot of people would like to know what could be their interest. Why do these two? Now, Nigeria voted for the independence of the former British Southern Cameroons. Yes, and Cameroon voted no. But they suddenly have some very strong ties. Link whatever you're about to say with that interest, because it's educative. Our people deserve to know.
If you ask me the interest, I would presume that this is the interest. Way back in 1961, when this plebiscite took place, part of Cameroon voted to join Nigeria. Mm-hmm. Some people, including me, have contended that in the whole idea of dividing British Cameroon into two and having two plebiscites, one for the north and one for the south, was illegal. It was completely illegal. So the Nigerian government seems to think that, this is my own analysis, they seem to think that, look, if these southern Cameroonians successfully challenge Cameroon for what they are doing, they will fall back on them. I think that there's this guy in Bamenda who has been prostituting for Cameroon to have independence along with northern Nigeria. Nigeria has this behind their head because the whole division of British administered southern Cameroon into two was in the first place illegal. What made it again was again when they had to organize two plebiscites on the same day, asking the same question at the recommendation of the United Kingdom. These were all illegalities, which Nigeria is profiting from.
There's a second point.
This is my own personal view about it.
You see, Paddy, the second point is
go ahead,
those our people that were kidnapped from Nigeria and brought to Yaoundé were charged under the new terrorism law that was promulgated by Cameroon. Mm-hmm. And Nigeria seem to think that if they give credence to the judgment coming from the Abuja High Court, it will mean that they are supporting terrorism. That those people were charged under the terrorism law, just like they capture Boko Haram people and tried them under their own terrorism law. That is
now, Barrister Fru, just a follow up to that statement. Barrister Fru, this is a follow up.
Temi Falana filed a response to that and saying that irrespective of what local law is applicable in Cameroon in Nigeria, Nigeria has violated, along with Cameroon, an international convention on the protection of refugees and asylum seekers. All other local laws are inferior to that international convention. And that is exactly what...
You see, my worry, Barrister Fru, my worry is this. This is my worry, and this is what I would prefer the both of you to satisfy. My worry is, in spite of, I was following you. Remember, I was one of those. I was in Yaoundé reporting, and we're going to get into the courtrooms. Fellow Ambazonians, ladies and gentlemen, you're watching. Yes. We're going to get into the courtrooms in Yaoundé and in Abuja. Remember, I was in Yaoundé, and I was one of those following all your court cases at that time.
Yes.
You were shuttling between Yaoundé and Abuja very regularly with some of the other your learned colleagues. And my worry has been this. Falana shouted, when Falana came at that time and was talking bigly on the media, We were proud that a Nigerian attorney of that caliber was actually
It was
hitting
not
hard on the
Falana.
government
It was
and the
not
judiciary
Falana.
system.
It was not Falana. Sorry, buddy. It was not Falana.
Yeah.
It was Oru. It was Oru
Oro.
that came, yes, to Yaoundé.
No,
Go
I'm
on.
not saying the person that came to Yaoundé. I'm talking about the attorney that was working in partnership with you in Nigeria. It was Falana. Am I correct?
Oh, yes. Femi Falana. Yes.
Yes, Falana was talking big on the media. But this is the point. Enforcement has been a problem. What is within the boundaries of the law that can force these governments to act? Because the law, like you're saying, supersedes local laws. But politicians seem to despise even the local laws or manipulate and distort local laws. And the international law is not being implemented or executed. It's a worry of everyone listening now.
Unfortunately, Paddy, unfortunately, some of these international conventions do not give an enforcement instrument. The various countries are supposed to respect international law and execute those judgments that frame on that are issued based on international law. In fact, the law on refugees, the International Convention on Refugees and Asylum Seekers, was voted in 1951, merely after World War II. That was to make sure that
I
people
think,
who are
buddy,
running
get this
away
clear.
from persecution, that people were running away from persecution from one state to the other, were supposed to be protected. And that is why the
What I wanted
1951 law was introduced. Therefore,
Yeah, but
what I'm trying to say is that
the only
what I'm
instrument, the
trying to say
only
is
way
this.
to execute it, the only way to execute it is dependent on the two states that were involved in that violation. And Cameroon and Nigeria are noted for violating international law and not caring about anything concerning international law.
Yeah, we are going to
What I
come
was trying,
now. Or the last part will be, what can we do as a people? Are we just going to watch them continuously violate this law? That is a question I think we should start providing answers to. Now, Barrister Tim, you have a contribution before we get into that.
what I was trying to say is that when it comes to enforcement of court decisions, be they national or international, they are based. The first principle is that a court, the judicial system, is created by a government. The government, as a matter of principle, should respect its own courts. It's just a principle. When it comes to international agreement, once you sign up to a treaty, you are supposed to respect the terms of that treaty. There's nobody going to force you to do it. But because you set up the court, we hear about the judiciary, the executive, the parliamentary. You have to respect the institutions you set up yourself. If you don't respect them, there's almost little we can do. I've just given the example that even in Cameroon today, there are people who have been sent to prison by the court set up by the government. They have served their term. Rightly or wrongly, they have served their term. They are not releasing them from jail. So they don't even respect their own institutions. If they don't respect their own institutions, the only thing we can say is, like this guy puts it under their queen, it's the kangaroo system. There's no tool that you and me will go hold somebody, tie his hands up, call President Paul Biya or Laurent, so whoever. It is based on the principle they have to respect their own laws. They are their own laws. They set up the courts. And if they don't respect their own judgments, be it in Abuja, be it in Yaoundé, be it at The Hague, what will you do? Some governments do these things sometimes. What we are complaining is that our own is grossly exaggerated. Governments do illegalities and take shelter over it. We live in the United States, for example. What will you say about that Guantanamo nonsense over there? Or they keep people there because I've said they're not supposed to be there. The federal government continues to keep people in Guantanamo. You cry out, yes. But we don't have the power to
I was
open the gates
about
and
to say
send them.
the superpowers of the world should be able. Barrister Fu, I'm coming. I was about saying that superpowers of the world should be able to lobby you somehow, but it's a game of interest because from what you're talking now about Guantanamo, they do not even have the moral authorities to talk to these tyrants. I'm talking about Buhari and Biya. The moral authority is not there. Am I correct with that?
Yes, you are.
They don't even have anything like
right.
they don't even have anything like moral authority. They have nothing. That is completely devoid of
you're
morality.
going ahead, Barrister.
Yes.
Okay.
Paddy, let me say this. I practiced in Douala for quite a bit. If I do my case and my client is discharged and acquitted, I take it upon myself within the next 24 hours to make sure that what they issue in prison when they are releasing you is called a bulletin de croix. That bulletin is issued and I take you and you are out. And there is only one case in Cameroon that is still pending right now. The case of Ponjindam, the former Director General of Chantier Naval. He was appearing in the Supreme Court, buddy, and the Supreme Court had a deadlock on his judgment. A group of Betty people sitting in that court said, "Oh, he must serve 10 years," and the other judges were saying, "Listen, we have not seen any element of crime committed by this man. He should be released." You know what, buddy? That disagreement between the Supreme Court judges caused the president of the court not to issue a judgment. So there was that judgment in the Supreme Court is necessary to be issued for Ponjindam to be released from the New Bay prison. Till today that I'm speaking to you, Ponjindam is still serving away and above the sentence that the others asked that he should serve 10 years.
So it's a political detention.
The judgment was never issued. The lawyers have done everything to have that judgment issued. With the Cameroon system is so clogged up and so useless that nobody is willing to take responsibility, and that poor man is still sitting there in jail more than 2-3 years after he was discharged and acquitted. Because
I'm sure you both would have watched. I have one last question, but maybe I'll give the opportunity for Pastor Commando, who has a concern, a comment, and a question to make. And this last question, which I'd like you both to respond to, he's on another call, that's unfortunate. Now, this last question will be, where is the hope that we have in this issue right now? We have former President Sisilu Julius Ayuk-Tabe. Law wants him back in Nigeria. Cameroon has barely responded to it. They are just telling you you're wasting your time. I can imagine from their voices, the boulou mauze aka, vous allez faire quoi? Et puis vous allez faire quoi? So we have our leaders, dozens of our citizens illegally detained, incarcerated. As I speak to you now, David, which one is it, a champion man, is not even in prison. The confinement where he is in set, and set is you know what set is. It's illegal. A lot of them are being tortured. They're going through these are men that are looking up to maybe legal minds like you, or Ambazonians like us out here, for a light. If you have to talk and you advise this government, because you can't be telling us here, Ambazonians will beat you seriously if all you can tell them like there's no enforcement. You've got to tell us now, Barrister Fro and Barrister Tim, what should Ambazonians do now to ensure that these people get out of there and we get freedom?
Unfortunately, Paddy, La Republic has withdrawn from the peace talks. That is one of the issues that was supposed to come up during the negotiations at the peace talks. The release of prisoners. I want to tell you that Ayuk-Tabe and his team are serving two judgments. They have two judgments now. One positive one from Abuja, and one in Yaoundé sentencing them to life. Now, the only way that we could have gotten them immediately released was if we go on that negotiating table and insist that there should be release of prisoners of war, prisoners of conscience. Now that we are not going, what is going to happen is that as soon as we are recognized as a nation, we will immediately file an action in the International Criminal Court or the International Court of Justice
for illegal detention
about the release of the prisoners of war by Yaoundé. And that we will have to bring that to the attention of the world as a sovereign nation. One of the problems we're having with our complaint in the International Court of Justice is that no sovereign nation has backed us up in that complaint. But I stand corrected by Barrister Tim. But the point I'm making is we will have to do everything to obtain our sovereignty and then sue La République du Cameroon and put so much pressure on them to release our people. Because they are no longer, when we achieve our sovereignty and we have our independence, when we achieve our sovereignty, they don't have any more right to detain our prisoners of war. That is in the International Convention as it concerns war. There must be swap of prisoners. We must be prisoners.
Yeah. Before we move into this next phase, Barrister Tim, there are two things I want you to react to. Number one is this aspect of you having some of Sisiko's purported lovers, which I believe they are just deceiving him for personal interest, or perhaps there is something. That's not the direction of the discussion I want us to take this evening. Perhaps there is something they were trying to hide, or perhaps Sisiko wasn't patient enough. Perhaps he was deceived that if he did what he did, he would have been released. I actually saw some of Sisiko followers being excited that the Swiss process has failed. That's one thing I would like you to react on. And then the next and very vital thing is this aspect of filing against Cameroon as a way out of this mess. I know you are advising the government on how to lobby partners. Perhaps some of these partners are birds of a feather, or they're friends and they have interest. Please, these two aspects vital. You have to really talk on it so that it revives those who are listening, and perhaps somebody could learn something from it.
Now, let me clarify one thing. See, the issue of Sisiko being in jail or people being in detention, that's a fact. But is Sisiko and his team and others, are they common law criminals? No. They are political prisoners. Ours is not the first system that has political prisoners. Political criminal prisoners who result from a conflict, physical war conflict. Where here you're sentenced for life, that is not life there. Life there means the life of the duration of the conflict. And there is no way this conflict will not end. So their release is dependent on when and how the conflict ends. And let me just clarify one thing. There's no legal reason why somebody should ever explain why Fonjindam is still in prison. No. The Supreme Court,
no legal reason.
Like the Supreme Court the Court of Appeal. It's a collegial court. In other words, it's a court of more than one judge. The reason why they made them collegial is that they vote. In the Court of Appeal, there are three. Two people support an idea, two judges support an idea, it becomes the judgment, pass the judgment. The other guy in the minority will still keep quiet. In the Supreme Court, there are 9. Like in the United States, 5 out of 9 constitute a judgment. So you cannot say, well, because these other people do not agree, this way I cannot pass the judgment. No, that's like looking for an excuse to not do your job. They've not passed the judgment for the simple reason that it's a political matter. They don't want to miss their promotions under the current system. So there is no excuse at all. So shall we continue to be in this system? No. What the Sisilu and all these people in prison did not understand, I feel sorry for them. They did not understand where they are. They are in a political prison. What they did not tell them, what they did not understand is, you sit in the party. If somebody arrested you today in the United States and took you into custody, and you had a lawyer, whoever is your lawyer, the first rule you should learn never to falter is never talk to the man who is detaining you without the consent of your lawyer. Your lawyer must be present when the man who is, when anybody is talking to you. The CC thought that they could negotiate their way out. No, it doesn't happen like that, particularly in political issues. It doesn't happen like that. Once you are in jail for a political thing, there are only 2 ways you can get out. The first and the easiest way is for you to escape. People have escaped. That's how the Akwangas and the rest escaped. The Gojidinkas, they ran away. You don't go to him and think that he's going to be sorry for you. No, they will never do it. They could not take all this risk. Go to Nigeria, hire planes to catch you and come and release you. They will not release you. So that's the error they made. And none of our detainees, our imprisoned people should ever make that error again. Once in the hands of the enemy, at least if you are lucky to have a lawyer, if you don't even have a lawyer, when they come to you, don't talk because they don't know what to do. So,
there's something about you, the way you say things. Someone may want to just say it in a way that will please, but you're just saying it tick-tack. And you see, we're expanding a little bit on this discussion. We just have a grace. Health is wealth has just been suspended, so we have more time to be on air. Before we move on, let's expand a little bit on this. Look at the attitude of, I may just say perhaps Sisilu is under duress or pressure. One would expect that as a mature politician, he could behave better on certain issues. But let's look at those who are out. Purportedly Sisilu followers, the Yerimas, the Meeting Takas, all of them in South Africa, the scoopers. These pass tend to struggle in a past.
Paddy, I'm not cutting you short.
Their attitude, do you think they are ignorant of this? Professor Anyangwe happens to be an international lawyer.
No, this is Paddy, listen to this. You see, we don't need to waste our time on irrelevance. I'm not going to sit here and discussing Yerima, whatever thing he says. That's bullshit. I think what we should know, and I want these people in Yaoundé, I hope they are following us, to know, is that they did not know the magnitude of the problem into which they were going. And perhaps they still don't know where they are going. They are in a political trial. For example, they're going to buy these people from all these people. What did, for example, let us take Sisilu. Sisilu was never living in Cameroon. He didn't take part in any demonstration. He did nothing. He was living in Nigeria. What's the guy he committed here? One of their charges, I'm not sure, was that they didn't have an identity card. In another hotel in Nigeria, they don't have Cameroon identity card. Besides that, all of them, the Mfongalamfo, they were living in Cameroon there. They were all living in their houses. All of the rest. They were not charged for anything. There was no charge against them. They only banned the SC, NC, and they ran away. There was no formal charge pending against Mfongalamfo, against all the other. The rest were even in Nigeria doing their different businesses. So it is a kangaroo system, as somebody has put it. They think that they can put pressure on you with all this. And then, like Barrister so knows, they come to prison and they test the waters. They want to talk to you under their own terms. And you think that they can release you? They are deceiving you. They just want to get information out of you. So we should not waste our time discussing on what the relevant things of Yerema or whoever. I have not heard Professor Anyangwe say anything about these things. So don't add him there. We're not dealing with social media judges. No.
Rhetorics.
If they are saying it,
yes, go ahead.
Why are they not going to release them?
Yes.
If Yerema is saying all this, why are they not going to release them? They've done nothing.
Let me say this. You mentioned something about Siseko being under pressure. Siseko, while we were doing his case, he secretly opened negotiations with the enemy. While we were still in court, he secretly opened negotiations with the enemy and went to the extent of issuing a document at the instructions of the enemy to dissolve the interim government, and did not inform any of me as the lead counsel or any of the members of my team. Nobody knew anything about what he was doing until I discovered it myself when I had a meeting with him. So he was not working under any pressure. Even right now, he's not under any pressure. He went negotiating with the
enemy. Because owing to Barrister Fru, please, I'm not cutting you. Owing to what Barrister Bisea is saying, will it be right if I think his actions were based on some short-sightedness?
Yes, he was deceived to think that La Republique will release him if he gets rid of me and my team. He was deceived to think that La Republique will release him if he negotiates further and give concessions against the struggle. He was being deceived, and he went to he had all those meetings by phone and in person while in prison, inside the prison yard, without any of his counsel knowing anything about it. Like Barrister Sim said, if you are in detention and you have a case and you have lawyers, you do not talk to the enemy in the absence of your counsel. When I saw that publication from Ayuk-Tabe, and I confronted him, and I asked him, if this thing was shown to me in court, what would I say? Now that you did not even discuss, you didn't take me along, you didn't discuss with me what you were talking to, why you were talking to Ayolo Bondo. And he just waved his hand and walked away. He had all this, and he had a group of 4 people.
Let us get this. Let us get this thing clear to the public.
Barrister Tim, I'm coming to you, please.
He had a group of 4 people among the prisoners who were deceiving him. One Professor Awasum, my countryman. One this Banso boy, they call him what? Whatever. And 2 others. There were 4 of them. Patasan was not in that mess. But Fongalampo started.
I think they sidelined him because he was a critical thinker, I believe.
Yes, those are critical thinkers, except Fongalampo, who led himself to be used from the beginning. But Ayuk-Tabe was led to believe that, if he tells a story against the revolution, he will be released. Till today, till tomorrow. The only people that are going to release, the only way Ayuk-Tabe will going to be released is through the negotiations, through pressure from this interim government, negotiations with La Republique du Cameroon, or non-negotiations at a certain level. They must release those prisoners of war. They must. Otherwise, they will have what is coming.
Now, Barrister Tim, before I get to you, I just want to announce to you, fellow Ambazonians, on Thursday, there's no town hall, but it is an exclusive interview with the president. And I believe the president should be telling us Amazonians how, what is his framework, at what level he is right now. If possible, give to us some time frame as to when we will have these prisoners of war, even those who are not against us. When is he freeing Amazonia from this carnage? Yes, Barrister Tim, please, you have a reaction.
I was trying to say this. I made a statement earlier that these people did not understand the magnitude of the problem into which they were getting. That's a fact. When this thing was pending in Yaoundé, he's talking about Banso, this is Shufai. What left Boya? Shufai was the people there.
Shufai, yes.
So when I called Shufai, we were preparing the case. He told me he wanted to do the case. I said, Shufai, want to do your case as a lawyer from prison? He said, yes. You have been deceived into thinking that they will release them. They don't know what it is. But let us take them as normal human beings. These are people who are married. They have their wife. They have children.
Air is human.
Yes. So, so then somebody extracts you from your family and locks you up and come and tell you, well, if you tell me this, I will release you. Unless you are a very hardened man, you believe the guy. There are two aspects of the war. They bring you into detention. Keeping you at the set was not a mistake. They make you see the suffering that you would go if you don't cooperate with them. And thereafter, they come to you and say, well, just let us go to Mvolia. The Pope or the Bishop will help us if you just tell the truth. He thinks that a lawyer, the thing will be adjourned 5 times. He thinks that he will be released the next day. Lie. They are not going to be released the next day. They will remain there as long as the war.
They were not even working together.
Yeah.
All the 10.
Because they could not even cooperate anymore. Yeah, no, let me finish. Because they could not even cooperate. If you go into, I don't know much of their story, but this is the truth. Yeah, when they could not have come and adopted them from Nara Hotel without the cooperation of some insiders right among them. So they just brainwash you.
Outside of them, Barrister Tim,
so,
even outside of them,
yes.
Even Anu had so much to do with that.
No, I'm not even going there. I'm just saying that, call it inside among them, they could not have taken them without the cooperation of Amazonians in and out there. But you mentioned the Professor Awaso, that's why I was mentioning that. You see, there are key people there. But the only excuse I give them, including Ayuk-Tabe, is that these people are so naive. If Ayuk-Tabe had not been caught by himself, if they had taken the rest and left him, you would have said, well, Ayuk-Tabe planned this and they came and took people away. But he himself and Awaso are behind the bars. I've mentioned this example. Who on earth will go organize a meeting like that for the thing that he wanted to do, whatever thing he wanted to do? Would that his own personal bodyguard, messenger, they call it back home outside?
Even those who are in prison with him were never informed of what the meeting was all about.
On that day, as I'm told, Shufai came there with the swimming suit. He was trying to swim at the Nara Hotel. The time was all enjoyment. No. That's not how it works. I just hope that they learn a lesson from all this. The more the nation is not yet
our biggest hope, Barrister Tim, is
Buddy, I'll be leaving in 7 minutes.
Yes, I understand this, but you really have to make a contribution on this before you leave.
Yes.
And I'll plead with you that multiply the 7 by 2. Now, this is something. Barrister Emmanuel Ashu-Agbo made some statements on TV that I would say it is preposterous, purportedly applauding the Yaoundé government for organizing the Canada conference and insisting that we had to be there. The statements he made are anger-provoking, but I'm pleading with you gentlemen to watch them. And from there, we'll get into the last phase of our discussion.
A little bit about what was happened in Canada with respect to the different separatist groups. Are you aware of what transpired there? We understand that some person, not almost everybody is there. What would be the importance of such a meeting?
Well, thank you. The first thing I noticed was that some people were saying somewhere, Cameroon government is finally doing the right thing. Then I hear others saying, Canada has said that they are not mediators, they are simply hosting. So from what the various actors on the ground are saying, I mean from the diaspora, what the diasporans are saying, one gets a picture of total confusion. I don't know if there's going to be a negotiation. How can people that diverse, that scattered, go to a negotiating table? If there is going to be a negotiation, I think that the government should do the needful. By needful, I mean that the government should give the proper representation to the population. A big chunk of that representation should be from the local population. Another chunk should go to the local elites. Another one to the prominent chiefs. And then another part should go to the diasporans. They shouldn't go outside and say they're negotiating with, no, that is not possible. It's not, you are not going to get satisfactory result, because the people outside they don't feel the pain of the people on the ground. So you cannot negotiate with people outside, they're leaving those here.
Okay.
And I think that the people who are more important are those on ground zero, the people who are feeling the pinch. Ask them what they want, they will tell you. I hear some people saying, who are we going to invite? That is total nonsense, because if you ask every subdivision to produce a certain number of people, they will give you the people.
Okay, they will give you the people. But now, what is the significance of what took place in Canada? Is this also a way to say that since the Swiss talks are not showing anything positive, we should open up another window?
Well, the significance to me is that Cameroonians are learning to solve their problems themselves.
Okay.
Let us start talking to each other. That is very important. So if we cannot talk at home, talking abroad is fine. We have been advocating for that here on this panel for a long time. So if Cameroonians can talk to each other, be it at home or abroad, it is a very good thing. We shall talk ourselves into perfection and talk ourselves into solutions.
Yeah, but you say Cameroonians. Are they talking as Cameroonians or Ambazonians? Yes, because they say you say they are Cameroonians.
Mr. Kum, if you look at our brothers who are outside there, which passports, the passport of which country are they having? Those who doesn't have American or British nationality or German nationality, which passports are they having? Are they having Ambazonian passports or they're having Cameroon passports? Let's face the facts. They are Cameroonians. The territory they call Ambazonia is Southern Cameroons. And Southern Cameroons, for now, is part of the Republic of Cameroon. So they are Cameroonians.
Okay. Go ahead.
I'm going away.
I don't think there's any question. Just speak.
Yeah. Well, since I'm going away, Barrister Ashu, that I know very well, is not an Ambazonian. He's not a Southern Cameroonian. From his thinking, from being a political leader in La République du Cameroon, he is not an Ambazonian. Secondly, he was one of those who participated in the CDU in Toronto. So it is a logical continuation of their gimmick. I will not give any credence to what Ashu is saying. Ashu is not an Ambazonian and he has no interest. So let him stay in Douala with his political party in Douala, in La République du Cameroon, and do La République du Cameroon politics. Why would you take people from the ground who don't know anything about the root causes of the war? I'm talking about the population. I am not saying that they are totally ignorant, but they are leaders. They have leaders. The interim government represents the ANJOA government, the last government that La République destroyed. And it was installed by Ayuk-Tabe, President Ayuk-Tabe, in 2017. Please, Ashu is talking because he is living
After the food conflict
and growing big because of La République du Cameroon. He has an interest to protect. Talking about passport, there are many Ambazonians here who carry the blue passport because they are refugees, and they call it traveling documents. You can travel with it. You don't have to carry a Cameroonian passport. Me
And
sitting
even
here,
if
my
you,
Cameroonian passport.
Barrister Fu, I'm not cutting you short. Even if it's so be that you're carrying a Cameroonian passport, our argument is that we have been annexed or re-annexed or recolonized, and therefore we have a right to travel. Definitely, since we are under occupation, we will need to travel with a document produced by the colonial master. So I really don't know the legal basis of his utterances. Before I get to Barrister Team, I'd like you to try to decode, because it has to do with the information our people are getting. Try to decode the criminality that's involved in some of his utterances, please.
Paddy, let me
Based
ask
on
a
law.
question. Have you heard anything about what is happening in Canada? No. Is it happening in Camara? I don't know. Is there a meeting in Canada? I don't know. Ashu sits in Douala and is talking rubbish. He does not even know whatever is happening in Canada, whether there's anything taking place in Canada. Because right now, none of us knows anything coming out of Canada. Secondly, this is passport theory. It's laughable. Because around the world, there are a lot of refugees carrying refugee passports and they travel. A passport does not necessarily mean that you are a citizen of that country. You could be it's only when you go to be controlled that you present yourself as a citizen. But refugees generally carry a blue passport. And secondly, a lot of us here in America are already American citizens, which they refuse because the Cameroon does not entertain dual nationality. But Ambazonia will entertain dual nationality. We are representing our people. We are fighting for our people. We are financing the war, and we are doing diplomacy. Why would you want to go and take somebody in a subdivision to come and negotiate? What are you negotiating? That is the Cameroon style. We are in international negotiations. We are going to go for international negotiations, and whether Cameroon likes it or not, that is their cup of tea. There are only two ways to have recognition, either through negotiation or we have recognition directly. And we are working on having our recognition directly, and we will have that recognition, and the likes of Ashu can stay in La République de Cameroon and run their political party, get all the benefits they can, travel to Canada, to Toronto to attend CDU, and now maybe he has not been taken to go to Canada. That is, and he is trying to give credence to La République de Cameroon. How can you be in conflict with me?
Organizing the Canada conference.
And then you organize a conference to involve me without my consent? In every conflict, negotiations are planned and put together with the consent of the warring parties by the moderator. And Canada has said Canada is not a mediator in this matter. Canada says that La République is organizing its meeting in Canada. But what the Canadians are not telling us, why are they not organizing that meeting in Yaoundé? Why Canada?
Mm-hmm.
And who is organizing in Canada? Is it an ONG or the Canadian government? I don't know. There is nothing as far as we are concerned. We are the only, listen now, Paddy, we are the only government that has issued a communique distancing ourselves from that nonsense in Canada. All these other groups running around, some of these people who are running around calling themselves government or calling themselves this group of AirGovC or all that, none of them has issued any communique because they are
and by default, silence is compliance.
Silence is compliance. So Ashu can go to hell for all I care.
But the team, we listening to a learned colleague. This is a man a lot of Amazonians believe he has been flip-flopping. Some would liken him to Bo Herbert. He says that, and this is where I want you to comment as we give a goodbye to Barrister Fro. He says that a good thing now that Cameroonians are now talking among themselves. And then the journalists ask him, but these are Amazonians. How do you call them Cameroonians? And then I try to flash back on some of the utterances Ashu made a few months ago, trying to define the fact that the peoples. I think Barrister Fru, you have been on a panel with him in Equinox. Am I correct?
Oh yes, I have been. Several times.
This is dishonesty. Barrister Bihesa, give Barrister Fru a few seconds to make a last statement, and then you kick off from there. Just make your last statement. This is frustrating.
Yes,
What will be
my
your
last statement? Yes, my last statement is that
Yes.
there is nothing going on in Canada. If there's anything going on in Canada, it's a charade, and it's in camera. We are not interested. We don't want to know what is happening there. But we know those of our brothers who are the traitors who are there. And so it's a non-event. We are the only government that has issued a communique distancing ourselves from that whole thing. That shows that we represent the people of Amazonia. We are a government. Having been restored to our independence in 2017, we are a government that is seeking recognition. That is it. So I would like to take my leave.
Yes, thank you very much, Barrister Fro. We're going to continue this discussion, most probably, if not before Thursday, because we can't have it on Thursday. The president will be addressing the nation on Thursday and having an exclusive interview.
But let's do it a little earlier.
Yes.
Let's do
so
it a little earlier.
if not, before and I want to announce to Ambazonians watching us, on Saturday is the grand finale of the county draft. We're drafting the federal capital of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia, and that's the capital of the President of the Federal Republic. It's a capital and it's a strategic. We're going to brief you from tomorrow details and reasons why the draft for FACO this year should be like never before. We will come with sufficient information as to the framework that will make FACO to be something that has never existed before. Now, Barrister Fru,
I want to announce that I'll be drafting for Tico.
You'll be drafting for Tico. That's amazing.
I'll be drafting for Tico. So it is.
So you're not drafting for FACO. You are making a full draft for Tico.
I'm doing a full draft for FACO. For Tico. For Tico
LGA. This is amazing. Yes. So Amazonians, you're getting the ambience. A lot of Amazonians for the strategic significance of this. I can see hundreds of Amazonians doubling their draft this year because of FACO. Now, Barrister Besea, I come back to you. This is a man, an attorney that should understand the legality and historicity of the peoples of the former British Southern Cameroon, standing in camera and saying that it is now good that Cameroonians are now talking among themselves, and then using a rhetoric to justify his claim by saying that we are all Cameroonians. What are the legal basis of that statement? Please talk to us.
If you permit me, this is what is important. See, Barrister So has already said it. Mr. Agbo is the leader of the Reform Party in Cameroon. He has a political party which he calls the Reform Party. So he has an interest in the political setup in Cameroon to say whatever thing he cares. But let me come to the main issue. It does not matter whether the talks are being held in Canada, in Japan, in China, anywhere in the world, or Yaoundé. They must know what they are doing. last week, on the same program in Douala over Equinox, there was this very program, who to choose to represent Ambazonia. And the guests in that program included Pastor Ambe, Nick Ngwanyam, and a certain Mr. Mondua from Switzerland. After all those debates, I wish Yaoundé can go and see and listen and watch what Pastor Ambe said and Nick Ngwanyam confirmed. He told them that the crisis in Cameroon today, call it Cameroon, the problem they have in Cameroon is not about federalists, it's not about unionists, it's not about 10, 20 states or whatever thing they call it. The problem is the separatists. So if you want to solve the problem, go to the separatists. As simple as that. Whoever you discover as separatists, go there. Holding talks in Kondenge, holding talks in Switzerland, holding talks anywhere in the world without the full participation of the people you call federal separatists, you're wasting your time. And so they said, all these other groups that you're talking about, they are just being opportunists, trying to use it to solve their own problems, to make their own names. But let me say this, and I wish Mr. Ashu is watching. Mr. Ashu has demonstrated a lot of ignorance on how these things are solved. Practical ignorance and legal ignorance. I don't know any conflict in the world where they have gone to the villages, collected people to come and sit down and discuss. Where they have gone to school, collected teachers to come and join the discussion. It has never happened like that. In similar conflicts all over the world, you talk to the leadership, the villagers, the teachers, everybody else in the community will be involved at one level. What level are they involved in? They get involved when the leaders have talked, when they have agreed on something. That thing is put to the people to approve through possibly a referendum. This is what we agreed to end this matter. Is this okay for you? That's when you talk people in subdivisions, in counties, everywhere. That's when the population is involved. If you don't like what the leadership has agreed, you vote with the government. That's your participation. Nobody has ever gone down to the villages to look for villagers to come and sit on the conference table to negotiate. No, it has never happened like that. Mr. Ashu, learn this. Can you cite any conflict that has happened like that? No. It did not happen like that in the Ivory Coast. It did not happen like that in Afghanistan. It did not happen like that in Bangladesh, in Namibia, in Eritrea. It has never happened like that. Go to the people who are fighting. That is the leadership. Negotiate with them. Then take the result of the negotiation to the people. They will either approve or disapprove it. But I should learn this. That's the procedure in settling disputes. If they are local, for example, in the case of the Ivory Coast, it was a local
I like the way you're talking to Barrister Ashu to learn, because that's how, when my dad was teaching us as we were young, and you seem not to get it. He said, learn this, you know. But then I think it's not a matter of.
Let me just end this last point.
Yeah, go ahead.
When it was in the Ivory Coast, which was a local conflict, and it is still a local conflict, they negotiated in 5 different places. The leadership, Guillaume Soro was the leader of the FN, Force Nouvelle, and the other political parties, they all negotiated. And they brought the result of their negotiation to the elections, where the people were now asked to approve. Of course, whatever is the case, Ouattara's party won. When it was in the Sudan, the leader of the Sudanese fighting force led. Until they came to a referendum, the people were asked, this is what we negotiate. Do you like it? They casted a vote. So let Mr. Ashu go and wait. When the time comes, he will come here and say, I don't like this thing they call Ambazonia. So I support Yaoundé. That's fine. That's your right. But not at the negotiation table, sir. That's not how it works.
So the negotiation table
conflict that's been like that.
be between those who are the stakeholders on the ground, those who are manning up with the weapons against the forces of occupation.
The
In
forces
our
on the ground
argument
did not
between
come
the
from.
Indian government and the colonial government.
Everybody agrees. The forces on the ground did not fall from the moon. The forces on the ground, call them 10 different camps, whatever thing. Each is fighting for a particular leadership. And among all those 10 or 20 groups on the ground, there's a main group where you cannot make peace, you cannot negotiate with ignoring them. Akwanga put it clearly sometimes not too long ago. He said all fingers are not the same. God did not make a mistake to make big fingers, long fingers, and shorter fingers, but they're all on the same hand.
Mm-hmm.
So the fighters on the ground again, if they are honest, except Mr. Atanganji's fighters, even the Atanganji's fighters, they owe allegiance to Atanganji. Atanganji will stand in front and talk for them.
Yeah.
And so this nonsense of I'm not being represented is all bullshit. I heard other than this Professor Ambe and Ningwayam, this my brother, whoever is, Mondo, who was talking from Switzerland, he just missed the whole point. Say, well, how would they represent me? Well, if you want to be represented, come and join the group that you like. Maybe you be the expert at the negotiation front. Otherwise, Ashu cannot be sitting in Douala. There is not even, I'm not sure that he's even in Canada and clapping house or why he doesn't even know. Why Canada? What is the difference between Canada and Yaoundé? What is the difference between Canada and Switzerland? There must be a distinction. So why does Cameroon need to pay transport, fly people to Canada to go and talk secretly?
I think Barrister Ashu is actually trading, marketing the enemies or the colonial masters' rhetoric. Grand national dialogue. You know, Cameroon, le débat est ouvert. You know, Cameroon wants the world to believe that they are open to dialogue their way, a discussion that is going their way. So Ashu, looking at Ambazonians and those who have died, and even, you know, he's cynical. As a lawyer, he knows how to play his words, but he failed himself when he looked at the people and said the people will make a determination. And at the same time, you are defiling or denouncing what the people are fighting for. Now he's telling us we are discussing among ourselves. At the same time, he is telling us, listen, let us listen to the people that are fighting. When he knows that it is a trap and those people cannot even stand and talk with Cameroon. This is what the interim government has been fighting and teaching and educating Cameroonians to understand the technicalities. Ashu is promoting the unity warriors, and we know the foundation of these unity warriors. He is promoting power from the ground, authority from the ground, and we know the technicalities involved. What would you say? Because this is important. It's not all about him right now. It's about our people that may listen to it. It sounds so good. Cameroonians are now talking among themselves. Ground Zero is now having authority. It sounds so good. Would you, in very few words, expose to the people the dangers involved if we take that path?
I think, again, I've said that Mr. Ashu should learn something, and I wish all others learn something. I also hope that Ashu follows all what we are doing. Not too long ago, President Sako came out with some definition which is so educational. In this struggle, just like in Wanyam and Prophet Ambe said, there are only two parties to this conflict. If you are a federalist, if you are a unionist, whatever thing, you are for one Cameroon. You fall in one camp. I don't know how many of them they feel they no PTs and they are all there. If you are not a federalist, you are independentist, what they call separatists. You fall in one camp. Those are the two camps that will be on the table. These are just the two camps that will be on the table. So Ashu or whoever she finds himself in either of the camps. If you are going to Canada, if you are going to Japan, if you are going to Switzerland, wherever, there will be only two camps. You have the right to that your opinion. That you're not supporting Ambazonia independence. That's perfectly your right. Again, That thing will put to the people. Not you alone, not me alone, everybody else. So let them, Prophet Sako made this statement which is so clear. Mr. Ashu has the right to say what he likes. He does not think that he can own any other passport other than Ambazonia, other than Cameroon. That is his right.
Yeah.
He thinks that he can best operate only in Douala, not even Manfe. That's his right. But those are all unionists. These are all people who believe in one Cameroon, where you can sit in Douala and operate your business and leave Manfe to fall, where you can sit in Garawa and do your whatever thing and come and harvest in Boya. That's all their right. So, but they fall all in one camp. If Mr. Ashu, for example, his party, the Reform Party, won the elections tomorrow, they will sit in parliament in Yaoundé. However he wins it, I don't know. They will sit in parliament in Yaoundé. But they are not part of us. Who have said that we are not part of that thing. For good or for bad, we are not part of Yaoundé. Let them know that that's our own right. It is our right to say that.
Yes, I like what you said on Saturday. You said that even if we're not voted independent in 1961, we have a right to get independence. You have explained that in diverse ways, several different occasions. I'm going to give you a chance to still do that explanation, but we have just about 10 minutes to go with this discussion. And I want us to watch another section of Barrister Ashu's video, and then we'll come there to conclude the discussion. Just follow very closely and see how he talks.
Okay, you say they are Cameroonians, but not everybody was there. I understand that the Saku-led faction said for them to be there, conditions are supposed to be met. Why do we always have to see persons not agreeing or fighting for the same cause?
Well, like I said, the people of our brothers in the diaspora are so divided. You see, it looks like they have made division their leitmotif, because I will not understand why they have refused to come together to talk to reason under the same thinking cap. They have, if they truly are going towards the same, they are geared towards the same goals, then it would have been, then it is only but normal that they should come with a united front, come with a unified front that can speak their minds. But you have many people standing as, I mean, for now we have something like 4 or 5 IGs. What is that? Who do you listen to? No, the government is right in this type of case to ask the question, who are we talking to?
Okay, you think that the government is right?
It's right. I mean, if you have 5 IGs and no, it's terrible. Let them come together and put a unified front.
Yeah, but some people think that this division is also orchestrated from some high quarters. How do we understand? And for the 5-6 years, it's difficult to speak as one person. We have IG Sako, we have IG Ayuk-Tabe, we have IG Marianta, IG
Chris Anu. Okay.
We have
IG Ayabacho,
yes.
Dabi Yerima. Okay, you see, this used to be true in the past, but now like this, it is no longer true, because the government used to think that it is a diaspora that controls the trouble on the ground. Now we have seen that Ground Zero is showing signs of independence. In fact, we had a lockdown that was organized and executed by Ground Zero. So any person who is wanting to negotiate with the diaspora without Ground Zero is wasting his time. Because from what we are seeing, the fighters on the ground are becoming more and more independent of the diaspora. So if the people in the diaspora don't want to unite, we have seen how these fighters are, they are making efforts to come together. We hear them talking about unity warriors. That is something, well, it helps them in their own way. If these people could come together and talk as one man, that would have been good. We want this situation to come to an end as soon as possible.
Okay. Now he enforces on his discussion, Barrister Mbesea. Now, if we do not re-educate our people especially some of the boys who have chosen to be vagabonds. We may have some of them getting real lofty, and that could be catastrophic for them, and perhaps the struggle in its entirety. Let's look at this very closely. He is playing a game. He is very conscious with his words. When I look at his body language, you see that he is intentionally avoiding to answer the question per se because he was asked. Maybe the division is orchestrated from some quarters. He avoided it and then tried to make a laugh, make some fun, a laughter of the purported what they call IG. Barrister Ashu, I know, has been following the struggle very closely and most probably has read the interim constitution, understands what is saying. Will I be right, Barrister Team, to think that this man has not just been compromised, but is a special envoy from Yaoundé? First of all, to tilt narrative on the ground, and then to evangelize or market an agenda.
I don't think it's compromise, because compromise means that changing position. He was not even part of us. He has never been part of us. He's a political leader. Forget about his title as a lawyer. He's a political leader with a political party based in Douala. But again, let me emphasize, Barrister Ashu needs to learn something, which he apparently has not learned. I don't know any conflict in the world, especially in Africa, that has come out with the United Front on day one. It has never happened like that. Give me examples that you and me know, that anybody can cite. Let us just take Rhodesia, which subsequently became Zimbabwe. There were so many people fighting there to eliminate apartheid. They had all one goal, apartheid. But there were so many parties. Damanagi Sitori had a party. Ebe Mozirowa had a party. And whoever, they had so many parties. Even Ebe Mozirowa was made prime minister under Ian Smith. But they were all fighting apartheid. When they went to the Lancashire talks in London to end apartheid, all these parties were there, talking the same thing, aiming at the same goal. Even Robert Mugabe, he went there under the ZANU party, which was not even as united as people think. No. The ZANU party broke into factions right there at the conference in London. That's where Mugabe formed ZANU PF, Patriotic Front. So there's nothing new in coming to the table just because your opponents are divided. Can he guarantee us that even within the CPDM, everybody is talking the same noise, same voice? No, they're not saying the same thing. Take famous Mosonge, who is supposed to be right up there. Is he even telling the truth? No. When this thing started, Mosonge took a delegation to the Southwest, took a delegation to Bamenda. On behalf of the CPDM, what did he come back with? He came back with stories and even fabricated resolutions. Among them, the Anglophones, he called them, we want to see the corpse of Ahiju brought back to Cameroon. Is that what the CPDM thinks? No. So Mr. Ashu should learn to deal with international conflicts, multicultural, multilingual politics. In South Africa, everybody was fighting against apartheid. But there were people who stood for the Bantu stance. There were people who made all this, other nonsense. They were all there. That did not prevent apartheid from ending. So the fact that people are fighting, I said that Ganzero is becoming independent. Independent of who? They are getting independence from who? Can you tell us? Field Marshal No PT is getting independence from who? From Yaoundé? From the interim government? From Choyaba? Or from who? What am I talking about? So that is not how it works, sir. The Republic cannot give the excuse that, well, there are too many, they are talking in diverse voices. No. If you are going to Switzerland, the Swiss-led initiative, if you are saying, well, I'm coming, he would have gotten there and found the other parties. He was not here to determine who is coming on the other side or not. All I needed to do, just like we sitting here, if the talks at the home in Switzerland or anywhere else, we don't know whether the delegation from Yaoundé will comprise Cabri, comprise Ndamjoya, comprise whoever. That's not our problem. They come with their own delegation. Cabra, Ndamjoya, they are
Whatever
different
delegation.
parties. Yes, they are different parties. Whether they bring them or not is not our problem. We'll meet a delegation of the Republic. They will come and meet, or if they come and meet us in our room fighting for who will not sit on the table, that's not their problem, Mr. Ashu. That's not your problem.
You see, Barrister Team, I just like the way you have placed it. It is really not the business of enablers and agenda. You know, they're now using this as a way of intimidation, or should I say manipulation, or should I say emotional blackmail, to say, who do we talk to? Whereas it is not their business. Just tell Ambazonia, okay, guys, you have been fighting for long. It's time for us to meet on the table and let's see who you're going to talk with.
Yes, they don't have to choose.
It's not their business for them to constitute our team.
Us. We should not choose their own. Again, there are 300 parties there. Whether Paul Biya comes alone, or he comes with his wife, or he comes with somebody from the north, it's not our problem. We want their delegation to sit on that one side. Our delegation made of Choa Yaba, made of me, you, everybody. It's not their problem, sir. They are not the ones who decide who sits for us.
I believe that ends the discussion. We've spoken elaborately, Barrister Team, and I must say that I enjoy talking with you. Tomorrow we're having we're going to be relating some issues to the Canada conference again. I hope to have the press secretary with me, with the Secretary of State for Communications and IT. I'm going to consult with him to know if you can be there to dissect some issues. As we come to a stop of this discussion, we now know that our destiny is in our hands. Our people want freedom. I'm sure Ochiba Nursing is calling because he wants to make a contribution. Yes, Mr. Ochiba, just give me a few minutes.
Before he makes his contribution,
Mr. Ochiba, before you make your contribution, let Barrister Team make his final statement, and I'll give you some sound. Yes, go ahead, sir.
Just before I came on this program, somebody forwarded me something from Yaoundé, purported to be what was resolved in Canada. I find it so laughable. I'll forward the link to you people. I hear what happened in Canada if there was any Canada. It came to me from Yaoundé. It's so funny. I laughed until I almost fell down. So go on, Nelson.
Yes, thank you very much. I'm going to consult with the Office of the Secretary of State for Communications to know if you will join the discussion of tomorrow. It has to do with whatever is coming in from Canada, the interim government position enforced. We'll be sending out publicity for that. Right after now, Undaunted will be coming to also talk on really very pertinent issues. We hope to have Nijo talk to us about the grand finale of the draft, but you want to know more about recognition. You want to get a preamble, should I say a foretaste of what the president will be discussing on Thursday. You want to get a feedback of what happened on Saturday. Just after now, get ready to listen to Undaunted. The ladies will be bringing that dissection of the news this evening. Ochiba, you're live on ABC Amba TV. Ambazonians are listening to you. Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Director. I want to send message for all man a day for home front. In relation to which we want to talk for day. Barrister Ashu, all we will get video when come out last year, it blamed United Nations say it not be complete the decolonization process for we. And it talks about they can't fix the things then. And we also know, say last year, it be take part for the CDN coalition for dialogue and negotiation. And where the outcome may be, I say they want a peace. Now, if you can talk, say people are being divided and you don't know who to talk to, they don't know who to talk to. Why come only today they talk about interim government? Who said we don't be? Why not we don't always talk when government, like public government, they say they don't know who to talk to? Why not we don't talk, say, yes, we get interim government? Why he no be also support that way Cardinal to me talk say me they make all Anglophone General Conference. They be denied only because they know which way will be the outcome. But today you don't come to tell people that some different thing. Now he understand saying that only the interim government it don't sign a paper document, a steady position against which way it take place for Canada. Because we talk say for Fumban, we never get no paper where we get them. So any leader where it come for outside here or it talk say he did so or left, and where they know we put out any written communicate, those people they participate for the talks them. So this one they go for all people where they be the members, say they some people they take them go for Oya. Say now only the interim government when Dr. Sako signed document. It talks say you know there for which way it take place for Canada. Any other leader or whosoever or activist or whosoever will not put out any document for they and they claim say if he now a leader, it means that that person the reformer they dey for under authority. Now when they tell Dr. Barrister Ashu talk say me home front is send people and me they go for me they go discuss, me they go negotiate. I want to ask some for people for home front say who among one if you go meet up like public authorities, even now for which place it tell you say he want an independence and he will come up for they go free. The one the way the local meet on la Republic, who said they did now for GDR centers and all those things. Even talk say they for bring community people for home front, me they go Canada. Which person will come out for home front? They go for Canada or any place for diaspora. They go talk say he want an independence. Then just no say you don't remain for outside for them because la Republic no will make you enter for them. Now they can't they make and they keep people where they don't can they promote anything where you see these people that they promote like the unity warriors, the agenda, the unity warriors, I say they don't put a found them with the with the nobody for key fighter because now way that way they want to make up. So many people that now they join their LGAs and their counties who go for fight this fight until we reach for Goya. Make people they shine their eyes and thank you.
Thank you very much, my brother. Thank you very much, Barrister Team, for opting to be part of tonight's discussion. See you tomorrow, fellow Ambazonians, ladies and gentlemen. This evening we will definitely be having a very special discussion. We'll be stopping this broadcast right now, but we'll be back again with Undaunted in the next 10 minutes. Undaunted will be live. They're going to be talking on some issues pertaining to recognition. We hope to have Nijo of Resource Mobilization coming to tell us on the grand finale of the county draft. We understand that HSS and the Department of Foreign Affairs are yet to draft, but then the federal capital is the grand finale. If possible, we might be getting a statement from the Vice President. I will blame myself for not proactively reaching out to his office on the special arrangements that have to do. I also understand that the President coming out on Thursday might possibly be talking on the importance of the draft come this Saturday. But then the government has considered the ongoing war, the gimmick from Cameroon, their proxies and whatever they are doing, they're fighting and disseminating misinformation, disinformation that is a calculated act of war. The government is going back into the drawing room, revisiting strategy. Will the president be assuring Ambazonians that he is also evolving as the revolution evolves? And should we expect new policies coming in the days ahead that will change our ground game? We have already seen that he's changing the game in the diaspora when it comes to diplomacy. But then, do we continue with the same strategy and expecting a different result? That's the worry of many Ambazonians. We are making efforts as ABC Amber TV to reach out to the media to make sure that we can also influence the narrative. We're going to be having a press conference in the days ahead. I also want to apologize that for some reasons we have not given to you the date of this press conference. But the importance of this press conference cannot be overemphasized. When you hear in Cameroon, many people listening, Barrister Ashu will make such preposterous statements on the media. He's someone who is expected to understand the resolutions, the UN General Assembly resolutions and the legality that is involved in our declaration as a free people, as an independent nation. We feel shocked, we feel embarrassed to get such statements, but hopefully it is our duty, instead of coming to complain, but to proactively enhance or penetrate the system, even in Cameroon, to penetrate the media and to tell them our stories like never before. And ABC Amber TV has subscribed into that. Nobody is stopping us. Thank you for being a part of this program. See you tomorrow.
We the people, ABC Amber TV, Ambazonia Broadcasting Corporation. The voice of the voiceless, the voice of Ambazonia, connecting the world from Africa with untold stories, Africa's best.